A mechanic named Bradley arrives at his workplace with his car, so he can repair it during the day. However, he is shocked when his employer unexpectedly informs him that he has been dismissed from work due to the economic crisis affecting the company. Feeling confused and defeated, Bradley gathers his belongings from the workplace, leaves the garage for the last time, and drives back home. When he arrives, he sees his wife sitting inside her car, talking on the phone. The tone of the conversation and her secretive behavior immediately make him suspicious, and the thought crosses his mind that she might be cheating on him. He walks toward her car and tells her that he's been fired because of the economic crisis and now needs to look for another job. While they are talking, Bradley notices strange marks on her neck. Concerned and confused, he asks her about the cause of these marks, but she avoids answering him. Feeling something is wrong, Bradley takes her phone from her hand and discovers that she has been calling another man. Bradley becomes stunned, overcome with disbelief, and quietly asks her to step out of the car and go inside the house. The moment she leaves the car, Bradley's emotional turmoil bursts. Overwhelmed with anger, betrayal, and jealousy, he smashes the windows and destroys the things inside her car. After calming down slightly, Bradley enters the house and confronts his wife again, asking her to tell him the truth about what happened and to explain the details of her betrayal. His wife finally decides to confess. She tells him that she has been in a relationship with the other man for 90 days. She explains that the reason was that Bradley was not giving her enough attention and was always busy with work. She admits her mistake, apologizes, and says, "I'm sorry. You worked so hard for us, and I betrayed you." She asks him to forgive her for what she did. After a difficult moment of reflection, Bradley decides to forgive her, and the two of them agree to start a new life together, away from problems and infidelity. A few days later, Bradley goes to meet a man named Jill, hoping to find work. Jill is an old friend of Bradley's, and he offers him a job delivering drugs to different locations. When Bradley's wife learns about this, she strongly refuses and warns him not to get involved in something so dangerous. However, Bradley insists on continuing because it is extremely difficult to find a job at the moment, and they need the money. Time passes, and Bradley continues working in drug delivery, transporting packages for Jill exactly as instructed. After finishing his deliveries each day, he returns home. His financial situation gradually improves, allowing him to buy a big house and offer his family a more comfortable life. He even buys a new car for his wife, who has changed for the better and no longer repeats the mistakes of the past. She becomes pregnant, and their life seems stable, happy, and normal again. Bradley talks with his wife about their future and the things they will do for their child once it is born. Suddenly, Bradley receives a call from Jill, urgently asking him to come over. When Bradley arrives at Jill's house, Jill introduces him to a man named Eliezer. With Eliezer are two members of his gang, Roman and Pedro, who are described as the most skilled and reliable men he has. Jill tells Bradley that Roman and Pedro will accompany him during future drug deliveries. Their job is to stay by his side during missions. Bradley strongly dislikes this arrangement, arguing that having them with him will make it easier for the police to arrest them all. But Jill manages to convince him, promising him that if he accepts the two men, he will give Bradley a 3-month leave when his wife gives birth, along with a large amount of money. Eventually, Bradley agrees, on one strict condition. He will be the leader of the group. Eliezer accepts this condition, and that night, the 3 men begin their mission. Their objective is to retrieve bags of drugs hidden underwater in the sea. The 3 get on a boat with Bradley as the captain and ride out into the open water. Eventually, they stop at the location, and Pedro prepares himself to dive. Pedro jumps into the sea, swims deep down, and finds a chest shaped like a treasure box chained to the seafloor so it cannot float up. He breaks the chains, retrieves the drugs inside, and returns to the surface without drawing attention. Once back on the boat, they head to the port, where each man takes a portion of the drugs. Bradley becomes suspicious that police officers might be watching them, so he immediately throws his bag of drugs away. He orders Roman and Pedro to throw their bags as well, but they refuse, insisting that they must deliver everything to Eliezer no matter what. When Bradley continues insisting that they abandon the drugs, Pedro attacks him and beats him. Roman helps Pedro drag Bradley into a garage so the two of them can escape. Bradley, however, stays behind, observing the surroundings instead of running with them. When Roman and Pedro reach the garage, a police car drives toward them. Meanwhile, Bradley decides to return to the boat and escape, but is surprised when a policeman approaches him. Thinking quickly, Bradley tries to deceive the police and prove he is not part of the smuggling operation. He pulls out his gun, shoots Pedro, and kills him, making it appear as though he is helping the police. Roman surrenders moments later and is arrested. Then the officers return to Bradley and arrest him as well. At the police station, an investigator begins questioning Bradley, asking what he was doing at that place at that specific time. Bradley claims he was simply walking along the sea and had nothing to do with the two suspects. But the investigator, through his own reasoning, figures out that Bradley was indeed working with them. He also realizes that Bradley is intelligent and successfully tricked the police during the arrest. However, the authorities still lack enough evidence to prove his involvement in the drug operation. Even so, the court ends up sentencing Bradley to 7 years in prison for premeditated murder. After sentencing, he is taken to prison, examined medically by the guards. After a short period, a big man arrives and takes Bradley to his cell. When Bradley reaches the cell area, he meets a guard named Andre, who begins explaining the rules of the prison to him. One of the main rules Andre describes is that when the bell rings, every prisoner must immediately come out of their cells. This is done so the guards can register their names, confirm their presence, and make sure that no one has escaped. Bradley listens quietly, and then he walks to his cell. Later that night, while Bradley is still adjusting to prison life, the bell suddenly rings. All the prisoners leave their rooms and stand for inspection, and the guards begin checking every cell and calling out names. But Bradley is not present because he is not used to hearing the bell or understanding the routine. Minutes later, he finally comes out of his cell. When the prison guard discovers this, he punishes Bradley and tells him that he must follow the prison rules without exception. Bradley does not react or argue. He simply accepts what the guard says. Meanwhile, the scene shifts back to Bradley's house. We see his wife sleeping alone. Suddenly, she hears someone moving inside the house. Fear overwhelms her, and when she goes to lock the door, she is electrocuted and faints. Someone then approaches her unconscious body and kidnaps her, taking her to an unknown location. The next day, prison guards call Bradley and instruct him to go to the prison clerk's office. When he arrives, the employee tells him that his wife's doctor wants to speak with him. Bradley meets the doctor, only to find himself being threatened. Bradley immediately realizes that this doctor is working with Eliezer's gang. The doctor tells Bradley that Eliezer lost $3 million because Bradley failed a mission, and he also reminds Bradley that he was the one who killed Pedro. After discussing all of this, the doctor shows Bradley a picture of his wife with Eliezer's gang. He threatens that if Bradley does not accept a certain condition, they will abort the child. The condition is simple but horrifying. Bradley must kill a prisoner named Chris. Killing Chris is the trade for saving his wife and unborn child. Chris is imprisoned somewhere in the same facility but far away from Bradley, in cell number 99. Bradley agrees to the terms and pleads with him not to harm his wife or child. After returning from the meeting, Bradley is accompanied by guard Andre. Suddenly, Bradley removes his shoe and attacks Andre and the other guards. He does this deliberately to create chaos in the prison, knowing that such behavior will cause the authorities to transfer him to the prison where Chris is located. His plan works, and Bradley is soon transferred to the facility he wants, allowing him to continue the mission of killing Chris. When he arrives, the guards take him to his new cell, which is number 59. This new cell is filthy, poorly maintained, and completely different from the cleaner prison he came from. Bradley tries to tolerate the overwhelming stench and dirt, but he cannot, so he removes his shirt and covers his mouth with it. Soon after, an officer arrives at Bradley's cell and takes him to the resting area. There, Bradley meets a prisoner named Dirk. Bradley decides to ask Dirk about prisoner Chris, whose cell is number 99. But Dirk tells him that he does not know anyone by that name. Determined, Bradley decides to find Chris on his own. He approaches a group of prisoners who are exercising and asks them about Chris. The group mistakes Bradley for someone weak and begins to bully him. Suddenly, Bradley fights back, attacking the group and defeating them. A guard arrives and fires a warning shot into the air to stop the fight. But Bradley continues and even hits the guards. In the end, the guards manage to overpower him. Because of this incident, Bradley is sent to the punishment cell, located underground. Before putting him inside, they force him into an electrocution suit. When he is brought into the punishment cell, he sees shards of glass scattered across the floor. Bradley is forced to accept the harsh condition without resistance. Meanwhile, we see Bradley's wife in very bad condition. The doctor arrives again to threaten her with aborting the child, and with him comes his friend from Korea, who is also an abortion doctor. Back in prison, Bradley continues serving his punishment. He begins shouting Chris's name repeatedly, hoping to discover his location. Suddenly, a guard enters the cell and tells him that there is no prisoner with that name. Bradley is shocked by this answer and immediately thinks of his wife, who is in danger, and realizes that he must somehow complete the task. Soon after, a group of prison guards arrives and takes him to a basement where other prisoners are being held. When Bradley enters the basement, he sees Eliezer. Instantly, he realizes that the doctor was lying to him and that there is no prisoner named Chris. The entire purpose was simply to bring Bradley into Eliezer's reach. Eliezer tells Bradley that he lost $3 million because of him, that Bradley killed Pedro, and that Bradley is the reason Eliezer ended up in prison. Eliezer promises to take revenge. His men begin beating Bradley relentlessly, and because of the brutality, Bradley cannot defend himself. Eliezer then shows Bradley a picture of his wife and tells him that she is as weak as he is. After finishing the torture, the guards return Bradley to his place, and he understands that the guards have been working with Eliezer's gang all along. Suddenly, Bradley snaps. He becomes intolerant of everything happening and attacks the guards present, beating them violently. After he defeats them, he returns to Eliezer's location. When Eliezer sees him standing there, he is shocked. Bradley launches at them and beats Eliezer's guards without mercy until Eliezer is left alone without protection. Bradley takes control of Eliezer and grabs him by the neck. He demands that Eliezer send a message to the doctor to release his wife. Eliezer refuses, so Bradley beats him again. Due to the severity of the beating, Eliezer finally gives in and contacts the doctor to release her. The doctor and the Korean companion take Bradley's wife and send her to the house of Bradley's friend Jill. When Jill sees them, he takes out his weapon and kills both the doctor and his Korean partner. Bradley's wife picks up the weapon to shoot them off as well, and finally they die. Jill calls Bradley, and Bradley's wife speaks to him, assuring him that she is safe. Bradley talks to his wife and tells her that he will not be able to see their child, and he tells her directly that he's going to die. When his wife hears these words, she breaks down crying, overwhelmed with pain and regret. She realizes that she has wronged him in the past, and she understands that he is the man who sacrificed his entire life for her. Through her tears, she feels deep remorse, knowing that he is giving up everything for the sake of protecting her and their unborn child. After speaking to her, Bradley ends the call and hangs up. He then turns back and returns to Eliezer's room. Filled with determination and driven by the need to make sure Eliezer never harms his wife or child, Bradley begins beating Eliezer relentlessly. He continues hitting him again and again until his head is severed, and finally he dies. Bradley does this because he does not want Eliezer to ever have the chance to hurt his family. Unfortunately for Bradley, the prison guards soon arrive, accompanied by the officer in charge. Brawl in Cell Block 99 movie ends with the prison director raises his weapon, then shoots Bradley, and finally he dies. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you don't miss the latest recaps.